my name is Ann, and I'm the host of Taking Questions on behalf of Women S. And I am thrilled today to be speaking with Jamie Preuss, who is a recipe developer, a culinary producer, a food writer, TV personality, and the creator of the food and lifestyle blog, So Happy You Liked It. We're going to talk today about 10 different protein recipes that are fresh, approachable, easy to make, and great for women who are actually in menopause. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here, and protein's a hot topic, so I'm excited to dive in.
It is a hot topic. Why is protein so important for women who are going through menopause?
Well, as you think about women in that phase of life, right? Like so many different things are happening with your body. And one of the biggest things is honestly muscle mass. Think about, over the course of your lifetime, like so many things, sadly, as women, we just keep getting depleted, right? So
protein, it's all going south.
I know, right? But there is just a few simple things that we have to follow, and protein intake is a huge part of that. So really making sure that you're increasing the amount of protein that you're getting in your diet, not just, I think people hear the word protein and they're like, okay, I need to boil some chicken breast apparently, and like eat all these boring sources of protein. That's far from it. So I'm so excited to talk today just about like some fun, fresh ideas to incorporate, this very, very critical component into women's diets. It's not just the depletion of muscle mass that happens over time, but also bone health, really making sure that we're leaning into, these critical components in our diet that really are supporting the things that are depleting from our bodies as we continue to age. Hormone production is another big piece, like making sure that we're keeping our energy levels top notch. Like it all goes into it. So protein is just a critical part of that story, but it's just part of it, right? So there's so many other things to factor in, but protein, I think, is one thing over the years and over a vast variety of ages that people are always wondering, like, how can I get better, more quality, more delicious, more fun ways of getting protein into my diet? So that's, I think it's just such a critical thing at all ages, but especially when we're talking about women that are entering menopause. It's a huge piece that we need to be talking more about.
It's a huge piece because so many of us are suffering from weight gain. We're getting that tire around the middle, and we're hearing, well, you've got to eat better. You've got to get rid of the sugar. You've got to get rid of the carbs. And so weight management also is a huge reason why you should be looking at eating protein.
Great call. And when I think about people really like setting their days up for success, it's not just like dinner. Because I think people hear protein and they're like, okay, I need to get in, again, be it steak, pork, beans, tofu, chicken, like all this heavy protein that you may not necessarily think about in a very formative meal like breakfast. Breakfast is a huge part of setting your day up for success. So when I think about protein, like many people will think about eggs, right? Like eggs is a huge, are like a fantastic source of protein when we're thinking about the morning. And there's so many different ways to do it. Cause I think that some people think like, okay, so I need to have, scrambled eggs every single morning. That sounds boring. There's so many different ways that you can incorporate protein rich foods into your breakfast meal, which I think really is the meal that truly sets you up for success for the rest of your day. So
sure. It's a great energy booster. You got to have your breakfast.
Yes, 100%. And it helps reduce some of that fatigue, like brain fog, like the energy that you're going to need to sustain throughout your entire day. It's not just breakfast. Like I'm talking a lot about breakfast and about dinner, but it's also the in-between. It's also the snacks. And I would argue, as a food writer, blogger, you listed off a lot of complimentary things about me, but I think one thing that I get in my position a lot is, how can I incorporate protein-rich recipes, and foods, not just into my breakfast and my dinner, but the in-between. Like I'm hungry in the middle of the day. What can I have that is going to satiate me, that's going to fulfill me, that's going to make me make a smart choice that will sustain over the course of time and only benefit me in the long run. So the collection of recipes that I have kind of shared that's going to be over on the Woman S blog are a lot of like very fun, different protein rich options that people can have throughout the course of their day. So
This is great. So you've prepared 10 healthy recipes for us to share not only with Women S and on our blog, but also here at the after party.
Yes.
And we're going to put all of the recipes below.
Mhm.
But let's start with breakfast. Tell us what you've got for eggs.
Okay, so eggs again, like the eggs are the perfect breakfast in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of just like simply frying an egg, scrambling an egg, combining it with a really healthy carb, like a nice slice of whole wheat toast and some avocado for some nice fats. But really, like for me, I'm on the go a lot, as I would venture to guess many of us are.
Mhm.
And so whether it is breakfast or a snack, honestly, some people may, I hope not, roll their eyes at this, but one of my favorite things to do is just have a boatload of hard-boiled eggs in the fridge. And one thing that I will share with everyone is that hard-boiled eggs can sometimes be like a difficult thing to do. Sometimes like the yolk is maybe undercooked, or the yolk is that weird shade of gray that tends to happen. But my rule is 5-5-5. And what I mean by that is simmer some water over medium-high heat, gently lower an egg into it, let it cook for 5 minutes. Cover it, turn the heat off for 5 minutes, and then run it under cool water for 5 minutes. You will have the perfect hard cooked egg every single time. So that's my little like pointer for everyone. But again, like from a breakfast perspective, whether you're on the go, you're grabbing a quick egg, you're sprinkling some everything but the bagel seasoning on it, which is my personal favorite, or a little like Aleppo chili pepper, salt and pepper, whatever you want, smearing it with a little bit of hummus for an extra protein kick, adding some avocado for an extra fat boost. Like the options are endless. So really, while I said at the top of this, the hard-boiled egg is like one that some people might roll their eyes at, hopefully not, but it really is just like a blank canvas for whatever you want to make it. So I always love talking about hard-boiled eggs. It's the perfect protein, easy, on the go. You can personalize it, make it what you want. So
That's great. And people always ask, how do you make the perfect hard-boiled egg? It seems like that's something very complicated to do. I love the 5-5-5. Quick question.
yeah.
You said running water. Are you putting it in a bowl of cold water, or are you actively putting the water on the egg?
Excellent question. So again, simmer the water, cook it for the 5, cover it off the heat for the 5. Then what I'll do is drain the water from the pan, put it right under the faucet, let the water run, cold water run until it overflows the pan, and then I'll let it just sit for 5 minutes. So
Okay, great. I love it. And I'm going to try that tomorrow morning. I always feel like when I go to Europe, I always have the perfect hard-boiled egg. Here in the States, I can never find one. I tell people, I'm like, I like eggs better in Europe.
And you will be shocked. It is like magic when you start to peel it. The shell will genuinely like just fall right off the egg. It's the perfect hack. So if you do it, I hope anyone who's watching, please let me know if you enjoyed.
Great. And post pictures below of these recipes when you make them. So the cinnamon raisin cookie energy bites. I love that. That's sort of breakfast too, right? Because it's got cinnamon in it.
Absolutely. Breakfast and a snack. Those are great because they're packed with oats, which are obviously like really satisfying carbohydrates that stick with you for the long run. Those are like a little bite that you can have and be fulfilled for a long time. But the flavors that I love with them, now I know that raisins and cinnamon raisin cookies can be a little bit polarizing of a topic. I understand it wholeheartedly. However, I will say that you can personalize an energy bite to your heart's content. Omit the raisins, add chocolate chips, right? Like sometimes the only thing that we'll do is chocolate. But these are great because you can personalize them. Once again, you can add like a protein powder if you wanted to add a little bit of extra protein kick. In this recipe specifically, I include flax meal, which is really great from like a hormone stabilizing perspective. Again, it has those healthy fats that are going to keep us satisfied. So just like a really great thing. I actually am not even kidding you. I have a batch of these in my refrigerator, and it's just a good thing for like mid-afternoon slump. I need a quick snack, or I'm on the go in the morning. I'm going to grab 2 and enjoy them with a cup of coffee in the car. So it works well.
That's great. But coffee with no sugar. My doctor told me I had to get off the sugar in my coffee, and I'm devastated, but I'm still not ready to give up coffee altogether.
I know. You know what I love though? If anyone's like a heavy cream drinker out there, I try to avoid like dairy products. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not perfect. I'm a cheese lover, but this is like not sponsored in any way, but that Nut Pods, that's the brand. They have almond and coconut based creamers that taste legitimately like heavy cream. The flavor I have right now in my fridge is called toasted marshmallow.
Oh, wow.
So good, not sugary at all.
Not
I think
sugary. Okay.
max in one serving, there might be like 2 grams of sugar max. I might even be making that up. There might be 0 grams. It's so good. Give it a try. That's a
Okay.
great.
I'm gonna check that out too, for sure. Let's talk about your Mediterranean salad.
Oh my gosh.
That
Okay.
sounds delicious.
Yes. Okay. So this is a meze quinoa salad. So meze is like a traditional way of eating in the Mediterranean. So when you think of like those gorgeous platters that you see that are filled with hummus and pita and olives and all these delicious Mediterranean little nibbles, I've taken some of those components that you would regularly see on a meze platter and included it with protein-rich quinoa, which is technically, fun fact, a seed. I don't know if everyone knew that, but it is just, it's gotten quite a lot of buzz in the last few years. Quinoa has become this ingredient that's definitely a superfood, which means that it's like very nutrient dense, but it serves as such a beautiful grain when you're doing things like this, which is a salad. So in this meze quinoa salad, I include the quinoa, and then I have things like marinated artichokes, roasted red peppers, olives, parsley, hearts of palm, which is one of my like favorite things ever. They're so delicious. They're very, very akin to like an artichoke heart, but so delicious. And then it's all tossed up in this like very sunshiny lemon vinaigrette, which is just lovely. I just made this, no joke, on Sunday for a little meal prep. And the beautiful thing about a salad like this is it only gets better over the days in the refrigerator. So it's a great thing to have on hand throughout the week. Spoon of it over greens. You can have it on its own. It's just a very delicious and satisfying protein-rich salad lunch option. So
That's great. Oh,
yes.
smoky roasted pepitas.
Yes. Okay. So pepitas are very protein rich. I believe there is 10 grams of protein in like a third of a cup of these pepitas. So if you're grabbing like a handful of these, you are getting a protein packed little snack. So pepitas are pumpkin seeds. They are the like green version of the pumpkin seeds. So they're hulled pumpkin seeds, and they're beautiful and delicious tossed on a salad, just raw. You can find them readily rather, in your grocery store, whether they are roasted, salted, raw. I like buying them raw and roasting them myself, because then I can layer in different ingredients. So for like a cup of pepitas, I would add like a teaspoon of olive oil, add in whatever spices you want. I think in the article that we're going to be sharing on the Womaness website is going to include cumin and garlic powder and chili powder, just like basic spices that a lot of people probably have in their spice cabinet. And then you roast them for like 15 minutes, and they are flavor packed. Again, they're great on their own, but you can easily toss them into salads, the meze quinoa salad, or even like top them on some hummus, which is a great segue into one of my ideas for another fun protein packed snack. So hummus, I think, is one of those things that can look, I'm a hummus lover, but I get it. Sometimes it can just be like really bland and like not fun at all. So one of my hacks, especially when I'm entertaining, one of my favorite things to do if I don't have a ton of time is get like my favorite store-bought hummus, the creamiest version I can find, get like a shallow plate, spread it out on the plate, drizzle it with some olive oil, some spices, some chopped herbs, maybe even some olives and tomatoes and cucumbers if I'm really feeling crazy. Add some of those pepitas on top, and it's a great dip for crunchy vegetables, pita chips, warm toasted pita. It's just like a lovely, again, protein-rich source that feels really fancy and elevated, but you're still getting that satisfying layer of the fats from the hummus, the protein from the garbanzo beans. Like it's just a wonderful option if you're wanting something fast and satisfying.
And it's packed with everything.
Yes.
That's great.
So good.
Wow. Okay, this one is my favorite, the spicy edamame.
Oh
Spicy
my
sesame edamame. I love edamame. I could eat it all day long.
And it's so easy to, like, you can make a whole bowl of it. I could eat a whole bowl of it on my own. And the thing about, like, think about when you go to your favorite sushi restaurant or any restaurant that serves like really delicious edamame, you think that it's so fancy because it's the perfect amount of salt and flavor and umami and texture.
Mhm.
Hello, it's frozen edamame that you can steam or even, let's be real, microwave yourself.
Right. I
So
can do it myself. That's
it's
it.
so
I'm not a
easy.
fancy chef here, so
Yes,
I can
it's
boil
so
water.
easy. Easy peasy. And then add on a little sesame oil, sriracha, if you like some spice.
Mhm.
Soy or aminos is my kind of like soy product of choice that I keep in my refrigerator. Sprinkle it with some sesame seeds. Like, there's so much flavor and it's such a satisfying, mindless snack that you don't need to feel bad about. So,
Okay, so then I love this one. Um, the dark chocolate superfood bites.
oh
So
my
how
gosh,
is this one that you're not going to feel bad about?
I'm tempted.
Anything with the word chocolate.
I know. I'm tempted to like go to my fridge right now and grab them out to like show you how beautiful they are, but we have photos. These are ridiculously simple. And the thing that, as I was creating this list of protein rich snacks, I was like, "Ugh,
Mhm.
I have to have chocolate." Like,
Yeah.
sometimes the only thing that will satisfy any craving that you have is chocolate. So why beat yourself up over it? Just make it into something that you can feel good about. And like, let's be real, chocolate in general, like let's just eliminate any guilt that we have about that. Like, dark chocolate is our friend, right? And so what I like to do is melt like top quality, good dark chocolate on like in a glass microwave safe bowl, 10-second intervals, stir it until it's nice and kind of like soupy, if you will, and then dollop it onto a baking sheet that's covered in parchment paper and top it with those superfoods. So like I said before, superfoods are really like nutrient dense ingredients. So like, and I think people hear the term superfood and they think, oh, that's scary or intimidating.
Mhm.
Broccoli is a superfood. Like, there are superfoods out there that we are probably eating or you have in your fridge every single day. But for these, I wanted to include things like goji berries, which are wonderfully packed with antioxidants and really good for you ingredients. It's a very packed, lovely ingredient. Hemp seeds, chia seeds, both of which are high in protein. Coconut, which is just a delicious higher fat option, but you do a little sprinkle on it. If you love texture and you like coconut, that one's for you. It's just a wonderful option to add. You can top it with whatever you want. If you have just shredded coconut and almonds, hello, or can anyone say almond joy like
Yeah, that
candy
sounds
bars?
delicious.
So you can really personalize them with whatever ingredients you have, but I love those. They're just very beautiful and pretty. Like, the photos that we're going to be including on the website are just, to me at least, I see them and I want to like lick my screen. They're so good and so easy to make. And then you can keep them in the fridge and they're ready whenever you have a sweet tooth.
Right. Dark chocolate is not just my friend, it's my best friend.
I love that. So
The marinated gigante beans.
yes. Okay. This has been my go-to lunch lately. So gigante beans are they're a Greek bean and they're rather large, and I tend to find them dried. So you have to soak them. So it's a little bit more of like a forethought, but then they sit in your fridge and they marinate all week and they are so good. So you soak them in water for about 12 hours and then you have to cook them and then you marinate them. So a little bit more of a forethought, like I said, but if you're planning meal prep on a Sunday and you want to have these in the refrigerator, there is a lovely restaurant in Minneapolis that is a staple. It's this Italian restaurant, and they are known for serving marinated gigante beans at the bar. So you're getting a little martini with a girlfriend. They'll come and bring over this nice little bowl of these delicious, garlicky, herby, vinegary, wonderful beans. So really, honestly, that was the inspiration for me to create this recipe because I love them so much, but they are such a great lunch. You can eat them on their own, but also they're great on top of a bed of mixed greens. My go-to thing is a slice of toasted sourdough or half of a pita bread. top them with those marinated beans. It is the most satisfying lunch. I swear I can eat half of it and I'm like full for the next 4 hours, but they're so good that I can't just eat half. So I have to eat the whole thing. But those are a wonderful, and you can use that logic. It doesn't have to be these gigante beans, which you can find online. You can easily do this with a can of cannellini beans, garbanzo beans, whatever bean you like. You can still use the same logic or recipe for marinating, and you're still going to get a great protein rich lunch.
That's great. And we have one recipe left that we didn't hit on, which is the peanut butter chia pudding. You always got to end on pudding.
I know. Why not? Okay. So this chia pudding, have you had chia pudding before?
I have not. No.
Oh my gosh.
I had a chia pet, but not chia pudding.
Close, but not quite. Okay. So chia seeds are, I will say this. Are you a tapioca fan?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Put pudding in the word, I'm in.
You're like, I'm in. Okay. So tapioca, I understand, can be a little bit polarizing of a thing because there is a texture there. So chia seeds, which again are like these protein superfoods, they are packed, they are so tiny. It's an ancient seed. They're lovely. You can add them to granola. You can really add them to anything. But when you soak them in like an almond milk, which is what I do in this recipe, they plump up. And it takes, I would say, like a couple hours for them to like fully reach their expansion. But this is something that I like to big batch meal prep over the weekend, once again, to have nutrient dense breakfasts throughout the week. But you add, let's see here, almond milk, a little bit of pure maple syrup to add a little bit of sweetness. Vanilla extract, which gives just like a boost of flavor. And then you layer it once the actual protein or once the actual chia pudding has been made, you can layer it with like that drippy, really good peanut butter, which adds even more protein to the mix. And it's just a lovely, like I keep jars of this in my fridge. So on my mornings that I'm not grabbing a hard boiled egg while I'm out the door, it's nice to have a chia pudding that I can just grab, know that breakfast is made, top it with a little bit of like fresh berries for a little like PB&J mix. But it's so satisfying. It's so good. Again, packed with protein. It's just delicious. It's a nice little treat. So
great. And actually you have one more recipe, which I missed, which is the high protein zesty ranch dip. And I actually don't mind, ending on a dip because I love those just as much.
Okay. Have you seen all the buzz about cottage cheese on the internet?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone has lost their mind, which I'm here for because I'm a cottage cheese lover. I always have been. And I've made a few recipes on my website that feature cottage cheese that are fun, maybe unexpected ways to use the ingredient. Of course, this dip being one of them. And so when you think about like go-to snacks, right? I don't know about you, but who doesn't love a good like ranch dip with nice crunchy vegetables or crackers? And so
especially in the summer, we're in the middle of summer. It's the dog days of summer. You're sitting around, you need a good healthy dip to be eaten with.
Yes. And like it's the primo snack on a boat, by any body of water, a pool. And so for this one, when you think about like a homemade ranch dip that you'd want to make, maybe ditch I hate to say it, but like the creepy crawly store-bought ones, like who knows what ingredients are in those, but it's typically made with like a Greek yogurt or a mayo or something like that. Let's up the protein and just blend cottage cheese. When you blend cottage cheese, honestly, I thought when I was making this recipe, I would need to add like a little buttermilk or something to thin it out. Oh my goodness. The texture is perfect. So if you get a food processor or high powered blender, blend the cottage cheese. There's a variety of spices that are made up for ranch dip, including like dill and garlic powder, onion powder, like again, basic spices that you'll probably have in your spice cabinet. Blend it into the blended cottage cheese. Oh, it is so good. And as it sits in the fridge, I'm not going to lie, it gets a little thicker, which makes it even better when you're again, like dragging a carrot stick or a pita chip or something like that through it. So it is so good, so flavor packed and incredibly high in protein because you got that cottage cheese.
Well, these are all great recipes. Thank you
Yes,
so much, Jamie. I have
you.
loved every second of this conversation, and I'm going to try all of these.
I hope
The
you do.
protein is just so important right now. I need that energy boost. I'm always told by my doctor I do need to eat more protein and get rid of a lot of the sugar that I have already incorporated into my diet historically. And I'm
Yes.
trying to weed it out. We're all trying to eat a little better. And so this is great. We're going to put all the pictures below, as well as the link to the recipes, as well as the link to Jamie's blog, which is we're so happy you liked it. And I'm so happy because I love it. So thank you so much for your time, Jamie. And we appreciate you talking with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I just love Womaness and the products and what your brand represents. It's just so incredible. And I hope that our discussion and the recipes that we're going to share will only encourage women out there that like protein does not need to be something that seems big and stressful to incorporate into your diet.
Correct.
It can be things that are delicious and satisfying and a snack to look forward to. So thank you so much
And
for
fun.
having me. Yes.
Thank
and
you,
fun.
Jamie.
Thank you.